But look back at our wedding party 18 years ago. If we got married
I don't even
today,
remember that.
I know. If we got married today, would anybody that was in our wedding party then be in our wedding party now?
Welcome to the Maverick Entrepreneur Podcast, where business success meets personal purpose. Here we empower entrepreneurs to strike that perfect balance between massive growth and unwavering values. Dive deep into strategies, inspirations, and stories that ensure you set your foundation in faith and don't compromise your family on your ascent to the top.
Welcome back to the Maverick Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm with my beautiful bride one more time, because she's got some great wisdom she wants to share today.
Only one more time?
No, a lot more
Wow.
times. Yeah.
I guess every episode it's a new interview if I make the next one.
Yeah, well, obviously, if we go by likes, views, and forwards, you are smoking all my episodes, so I might as well
I'll give you one more time.
One more time. Yeah, you're pretty much blessing me right now. Yeah. People you think would want information and wisdom, no, they just love your pretty face, dropping knowledge.
I have information and wisdom too.
I know you do, babe. That's why they're all here. Hello. So today I want to talk about, I think the number one thing that we have people ask us about, whether it's at church or in business and life or whatever, our close friend group, is our marriage agenda and our quarterly getaway agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give a little bit of feedback, and then we'll talk about it, because we could talk about rhythm and flow and how to get your life into family. You got to remember, we were 18 years ago, newlyweds, and all we wanted to do was go have fun. I mean, we went to a lot of country concerts.
Yeah, we had 5 years with no kids, so we just squeezed every last moment out of that, you and I, doing all the great things we wanted to do. All the great things.
But even when we had kids, or before we had kids, multiple businesses, all that kind of stuff, we implemented this agenda because of a good friend of ours who he literally didn't have a good marriage. He literally hired a coach and started writing a love note every day, every single day, and he made it 365 days with writing a love note to his wife and getting her a gift.
Yeah, but the coach he hired was his wife, who he just asked for feedback to see how he was as a husband, and it was not good feedback. So he decided, I better fix this. And this was part of one of the solutions.
Well, he did hire a coach to help him get creative, because he wasn't that creative. Hired the coach to help him full-time write out a plan for 365 days. That's what it was.
I want someone to hire me for that. That'd be so fun.
You'd be great at that. Yeah, so he did it. He fulfilled his mission. But in there, they wrote a agenda. We call it the coffee break agenda. So we want to go get coffee together on Tuesday mornings. And the philosophy behind it is this. We have a Thursday night date night. Hey, I get it. When you don't have kids, every night's a date night. But here's the truth. When you have multiple businesses, when you are having 3 kids you're trying to manage, or any amount of kids, you suddenly have to start scheduling at a new level of conviction, so you don't let the things that matter be put on the back burner. So
yes,
we though then implemented this coffee break agenda, talking about our business, our life, our marriage, and we got in the habit of doing it before we had kids, so then when we had kids. But it doesn't matter where you're at now, the faster you implement this, the better date night is. So date nights usually get screwed up and don't end well, because people start talking about money, finances, business, mother-in-law, father-in-law, whatever it is, in-laws, and you start going down these side rails, but you should be dating. See, when you dated, you never talked about these things. You just went and had fun, enjoyed that beautiful person across from you, and you had connection.
Right.
But when life gets busy and you don't separate the two, you're no longer dating, you're just having like a business meeting at a nice dinner, and it doesn't always end well. But if you can do your coffee break marriage agenda well, you can have date night and still have fun. And it takes work to be intentional about it. We're going to a concert tomorrow night, right?
Heck yeah, we are.
Heck yeah, we are.
Date night.
Date night.
You better take me on a date.
Take you on a date. We're going to go to a country concert. We're going to have fun. We'll fly to Vegas once in a while. We'll go to Cabo for 2 days. Just little tiny things. But if our coffee break doesn't go well, our life gets too crazy, and then date night doesn't go well. So How do you preserve date night? Well, you make sure you have your coffee breaks. Don't miss date nights if you want an epic marriage and you still want to still be hanging out, still doing fun things 18 years later, 20 years later. Listen, this isn't a life sentence in a negative way. It's a life sentence in I'm so grateful way. And so, babe.
Well, something that we learned really quick when we were first dating and you were proposing to me was the couple that actually helped him facilitate the proposal were many years ahead of us. I don't even know. They have to be married like 50 years now or something.
No.
Not that much. I mean, a lot. Like if we're 18, they've got to be 30,
36.
something maybe. I'm just guessing. But they were far ahead of us and they really set the example because they had a downtown penthouse in Chicago that was just decked out to the nines. Of course, about an hour from there, they had their home out in the country kind of thing.
That was their hookup pad.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but they had that and they had kids. They had little kids. I remember them having a little, maybe 4-year-old, 3-year-old running around the house. Yeah. And, you know, I was 21, 22 at the time when we met, and my husband, well, then boyfriend or guy, I wasn't even sure I was really excited about marrying yet, brought me out there. And they helped host and facilitate the most amazing proposal ever. But I look back and I'm like, wow, they had something going on there. Like I really looked up to what they had.
Do you ever look back how epic that proposal was?
Yeah. And now someday we can help somebody else host an epic proposal. Maybe when we get our epic downtown pad, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so doing these things is so important, and still making sure that you're able to have fun and do stuff with your spouse, but really rooting in the place of making sure real business is taken care of so that those foundations are laid so that you can have the enjoyable moments with your spouse.
Yeah. I'm telling you, intentional dating is so important when you're married. I mean, we now hold a marriage getaway through our church.
Yeah, we do.
And it's amazing. You know, we'll have 500 couples?
Yeah.
500 couples come. And I mean, that's 1,000 people. And to hear where they're at, I mean, I'm so grateful every time I come home that we put in the work we put in, because I don't want to end up a statistic. I don't want to end up having to, call our pastor going, oh, but because if you do the work now. So tell us about, you probably have it on your phone.
The consistent work. And we call it work because some of the coffee break agendas where we sit down and go over topics, we actually end up in a fight too. So when we first started doing it.
I think it's not a fight. I think it's passionate conversation.
It's, I can't remember the word I'm looking for, but yeah.
It's carefrontation.
Maybe. But we don't always end up on the same page during every single coffee break agenda. So I just want to set that kind of standard out there that they don't have to be perfect. Like our goal is to do it every week, and our goal is to get through the whole thing every week, and our goal is to end up on the same page every week. But I think that happens probably, 75% of the time. So that's the goal. And then we really try to make it work otherwise. But it's always helpful. It always brings such clarity and gets us on the same page when we're both running fast, when we are both busy, when my husband's running businesses and I'm juggling home life and ministry life and all the things that we do. It brings us together for the connection point on the important topics, the big rocks of life.
Yeah.
And we can go through it in detail if you want. I don't know.
But no, I think you should pull it up though on the phone. And
I don't have my phone.
You're so good.
I know.
I'm going to pass you mine and you can look it up on mine.
Okay.
I really want to preface this because so many people have all these, they make it bigger than it is. And the bottom line is to have fun in marriage, you got to get the noise out of marriage. Like in order to unwind, you have to be able to talk about certain things. Like they say the biggest things that cause divorce in marriage, number one is money. And number two is kids. They're so built into their kids, they forget to put each other first. And if you are not dating your spouse, I could already tell you, you're operating from a deficit. Okay, not to get in their sex life, but they need to be y'all need to be hooking up a whole lot more than you are. I promise you that. We still go to counseling with our counselor. I call it marriage coaching, 4 times a year. If it needs to be more, we'll go. We have no problem with that. And sometimes
when I get super frustrated and he's not listening to me at the coffee break agenda, I said, then we're going to go see Dr. Brian and you actually have to book the appointment.
Going there?
So I'm going to wait for you to book the appointment.
Yeah.
And then it gets booked.
Yeah, then I book it, but you got to be proactive. But if I take too long, then she's upset even more. So,
and I text Dr. Brian and I say, you know that my husband's supposed to be reaching out to you. I wonder if you could help him figure out how to do that.
I thought this was a podcast on education. This is called a bus driving podcast.
All right, we'll switch gears then.
No, you could drive
We'll
the bus.
educate on the marriage coffee break agenda.
Babe, you're a great bus driver. You've actually parked it a lot lately.
You know what's, wow, thank you. You know what's really cool is you can kind of make this work for your lifestyle. So some seasons of our life, we've been able to go out and have coffee together and sit down and stare at each other and talk about this stuff. In other seasons of our life, we're taking baby for a walk and talking about stuff, you know.
True.
And it just depends on where you're at and what season of life you're in. But
do you go on walks with your wife?
Walks are awesome. Walk and talk?
The beach, walk and talks.
I've heard a lot of people call it walk and talk. I don't know.
Walk and
people
talk
are kind
agenda.
of morphing this into their own version for their life, which is great.
Make it whatever. We took it from somebody and made it our own and made it better and it applies to our life. But can I ask you the questions or you want to ask me?
We're going to do it in front of everyone?
No, we're not going to do it in front of everyone.
I want to say something that we've really done intentionally. The first thing we talk about is personal wins and 3 wins.
Yeah.
Because we want to start on a positive note. Usually my default is I have a list of things. I literally in my notes in my phone, I have a section called Ask Matt because I always have things that come up what we're too busy to connect daily that I need to ask him. And so I usually just want to dump on the Ask Matt, but he's like, all right, let's stay focused. Let's talk about 3 wins first. And I'm like, let me pray about it.
It's true.
I don't know. You can ask me the questions if you want.
No, I love it. I just wanted to look at it. So we have it on our phones. You can do whatever, but I will tell you when you start off in personal wins, it's better. And there's been times where we're mad at each other and we don't want to give personal compliments, but you have to. You have to
There's another section in there that says 3 compliments about each other.
I'm going to go through the big ones, but we'll do it. So the 3 wins from last week, we start off with.
Yes.
We then give 1 to 3 compliments about each other. So we share something special that we noticed about one another, or that inspired us, or that we're proud of, or grateful for the other person. If you can't even find something you're inspired by or grateful for, go get a counselor.
Yeah.
You want to be able to words of affirmation, adoration, build each other up, not tear each other down. Because during the week, it gets stressful. During the week, we're, oh, can you get the kids? Oh, I can't. What do you mean you can't? You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, you're just asking me. I got to be there in 7 minutes. I'm in Utah. You know what I mean? So, there's different things that this helps just kind of recalibrate. You got to be grateful for it. Now, here's the tricky one. When we go to the part where, how am I doing on a scale of 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm. And then if I give him a 7, then I have to tell him why, and I have to tell him how he could be a 10.
Yeah, I need to know how to be a 10. I mean, her expectation sometimes is so ridiculous. I mean, Matthew McConaughey couldn't be a 10 on his best day with the expectation she has for me. But then, we have a laugh about it. And then can you lower the bar a little bit? Tell me. I was like, I'm not Jesus. Okay, I'm trying every day, but scale of 1 to 10 is perfect because it locates you and it lets you know that I could have been so busy in work or ministry or taking care of everybody else, I forgot how to take care of my bride. So that's why it's really important. And then we ask recent fascinations. So the reason why we use the word fascination is because when you use the word frustration, it has a negative connotation to it.
Yes.
And I don't want to be frustrated with my life, but when my wife does something that frustrates me, if you dig into it really, she fascinates me. I'm fascinated why she made that decision. So I don't want to get caught up in frustration because it goes negative. But when I start going, baby, fascinate me, I actually laugh in my head because it is fascinating why she invited my mother-in-law over for our date night dinner. It is fascinating.
Oh, wow.
That was just an example that came to mind. It is fascinating on certain things. So,
recent fascinations. Yes, I like that one.
Yes, recent fascinations.
And I have a tab in my notes that also lists those. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, don't keep track of fascinations. But the things that fascinate you want to talk about to clear that air because there needs to be areas of improvement. And I think couples should do this dating too because it's so hilarious. We just taught this one couple and he was reaching out to me going, This is so crazy, our levels of conversation. It helps you actually get past surface stuff and talk about things that really matter. What's the one thing you're afraid of right now?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be?
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I'm afraid that it's only going to be sunny in San Diego for a couple weeks.
My wife needs sun. If you didn't know that through these podcasts, the level of happiness is directly correlated to the level of sun in my wife's life. I'm trying to break that, but that's a real thing right now. So
yeah. But the point of that question is to be able to get real and vulnerable, which people don't naturally do.
Yep.
But that's why this is very intentional. And you might have to stop there. Like when you first start this, that might bring up like a deep hole that you need to dive into or table it for a counseling session. But that's why these topics are there.
In the beginning too, this might take a little bit longer once you get in the rhythm of flow, but set a time thing on it. If you need to come back and revisit it, you can. I know a lot of people, they get so frustrated. I mean, I know a couple of even our friends that I have guys trying to avoid this because they don't want to have these real conversations. You cannot avoid this. You have to man up, woman up, and have these conversations if you want an epic marriage. If you want to inspire your kids. I mean,
if you want a lame marriage, you don't have to do it. And a lot of people just actually stay in bad marriages and they don't ever get divorced, but they're not enjoying each other. So even what's the point? Ridiculous. They're like married because they said I do, but then they're
not thriving.
Yeah.
I mean, don't even tell people you're a Christian at that point.
Yeah, if you're a Christian and your marriage is horrible and you're just staying married because you said I do, no.
No, you got to invest into it. One day we'll stand before the Lord and say like, hey, I gave you this bride. Look how you treated her. So it is a wake-up call. It's very humbling. You got to put the work in. But it's amazing. If I said, oh, you'd never, but I remember back in the day, I kept changing lunch appointments or date days, all the stuff. And then I had a friend say to me, have you ever done that with an attorney? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you have all these meetings on your calendar with like attorneys and all these people. I go, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't reschedule. Well, is your wife less than them? I'd be like, shoot. And so that came home, I repented, told my wife I'm sorry. And then so it's real important. If I need to change something for whatever, she needs to change, we have a conversation. And if it's not, then we don't miss it. But if it's a conversation, then we can both choose to reschedule. And we rarely do that.
Yeah.
So another one we talk about quality time.
Mm-hmm. Am I getting enough quality time?
What's your love language?
The quality time, love language person over here. And usually the answer is no, because there could always be more. But I've tried to be a little more fair and give a fair.
And I just touch me and tell me I'm awesome. We're good. So quality time for me is shoot, I have to be intentional about that. Play cribbage. Quality time for me is let's play a game. Pickleball, any of it. So, also when it comes to snuggling. So we do have a little thing. So it's code words. Cuddling is let's sit on the couch and cuddle. If you want to cuddle, that means there's no S for sex, which means snuggle. So if she says you want to snuggle, I know what that means. I'm dropping everything and we're going to snuggle. If it's cuddle, great. So cuddling is different than snuggling, but are you getting enough snuggling in your marriage? That's an important thing to talk about.
And it's a question in there.
And it is a question. Another question that gets sensitive, do you feel adored? If not, what do I need to do to improve, or what does she do?
Mm-hmm. And wives, don't be unreasonable with this, because you could totally go, into the clouds with it. But, flowers or whatever you like, whatever things you like. If it's words of affirmation.
Flowers are starting to be a big deal to you.
I kind of like them a little more.
A little more. You used to be don't waste your time on flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I see we have flowers in our house all the time.
Everybody's getting me flowers.
Yeah, I want to know. What's his name? But that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
What's the one thing I can do to serve or honor you this week? That's a good one. I don't think we've had that one lately.
I don't know if we've gotten this far into our agenda lately.
Lately it's been a little crazy. I missed that one. What are you looking forward to most this week? What's the one thing you're excited about right now? I want to know what my wife's excited about.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple things that you're excited about, couple trips, couple things, couple plans.
Yep.
I'm not excited about them, but you are.
Wow, we'll talk about that later in our real marriage agenda.
We need to do that. What's something you've been dreaming about lately for our future? Dream together is so important. It's amazing how many couples get caught up in kids or everything else. Notice what it says is, it's not starting off with the next session, which is calendar. Here's what happens. If we decide to talk about calendar first, we don't finish our agenda.
Yeah.
If we actually do it in the right order, we finish our agenda. Calendar can sidetrack you, take you out, and end bad. But in our calendar meetings, we update the calendar for work, church, kids, life. She tells me, like, I even tell people that call me to get on meetings with me, I'll let you know on Tuesday. Every Tuesday is our coffee break agenda. We get our calendar up to date together, and we move in a fast-paced life. Not everybody has the life we have, so this will be much easier for you. But we have multiple things moving at all times.
Yes.
You like calendar. I think calendar is your favorite.
Calendar is my favorite. And I have to
OCD plan.
I have to not go straight into that because I usually am like reining this guy in from all the commitments that he makes.
Yeah,
and then
I make a lot of commitments. So anniversaries, birthdays that are important, we at least do this 3 to 4 weeks out. Weddings, showers, birthday invites, vacation updates, household needs. Hey, is our quarterly agenda. We do a staycation. We do a quarterly agenda. But you don't need to do that. You can start off with doing a quarterly agenda at your home. Just get quiet, turn off the noise. We like to turn it into an overnight date. Do a staycation. You can go to all these great websites, find hotels for cheap. We have Amazon wish list, Nordstrom wish list.
What do you want for Father's Day?
What I want for Father's Day list. So those are on there as well. So I always know what my wife has in there that she's not going to buy for herself. So if I want to get her a cute little thing, I can go to her Amazon wish list, which is almost nothing now. It's all on the Nordstrom list.
I moved it over to Nordstrom.
So Nordstrom's a little bit more expensive. I'm prophesying back to Amazon. Kids schedule, need to know, wants to do, unfinished projects, school needs, school status. We have plans with family night updates. We do a family night together. So we plan for that. Who's coming over, ideas, agenda. We make intentionality around that. Personal goals, family goals. We haven't done this in a while. We need to touch base on family rules and family core values.
Yes.
We need to at least do that monthly. And then we have financial. We talk about expenses, updates, bills. Now that my wife is a new crypto queen, you're going to give me crypto updates.
I'll update you when it's up.
It better be up right now.
I'll give you updates.
Updates. Only when they're up. I better get more updates with our crypto. And then just, overall quality of life. We joked around about the sun, but it's a real thing. You tap out. I know if we have too many May grays or June glooms, I know my wife's going to tap. I need to be able to know through our marriage agenda when she's tapping so we can get to our river house and go on the sun in Arizona and, live our best life.
Spend a couple days.
What would you say your highlight of the marriage agenda? What does it do for us?
I would say it brings a connection point, and it's unrealistic to cover all those things in lots of depth unless you have hours and hours. But if every week we can connect on a few of those topics, I feel good. It actually ultimately brings security to me. So having a knowing of where our life is going, where our life is at right now, what is the big vision? Because if I don't know the why behind the what, I get nervous, I get lost, I feel confused and frustrated a little bit, but it brings just a peace to me, I would say personally, to know that I'm connected with my husband on many different levels and that we're running in the same direction and not just purposeless, but we're on purpose and we're connected doing the things that God's called us to do and being excited about it. So ultimately,
I see too many of my friends that they are not connected with their wives because they're so busy in business, being a protector and a provider, that they have a massive disconnect. And which, I don't like traveling with those guys because they're always wound tight and it makes me wound tight. But what I love, whether it's doing the agenda or getting that quality time, you could do this on a walk. You could do this, on a car, on a trip, if you're by yourselves. I don't want to talk about our personal business in front of other people, but, if we're coming back from the river by ourselves or we're on a trip or we're driving into the office one day together, God gave me a helpmate for a reason. But it's amazing, you're not just pretty and arm candy. You're not my Thursday night date
Thank God.
model, even though you are. It's much more than that. And the more that we can connect on this and build a life together, the more that it inspires our kids. So this is generationally, if you set it up, our kids know, in the summer, we're still going to do coffee breaks and our kids will be here. We'll just go into our office, grab our coffee, and we'll do it here.
And our kids know date night too, even though my daughter specifically is basically a preteen now. And she just wants all her time with us. And so now she throws a fit every time we have a date night. And I'm like, well, sweetie, that's part of what mom and dad do. So we set the standard that our marriage is the priority over their feelings now. If something was wrong.
Sports, not feelings.
Not sports, not feelings.
I can't believe how many people cancel a date night because their kids don't want them to go.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
I mean, do the patients run the asylum? Do the kids run the asylum?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
My kids, you guys get to do so many incredible things. And it's because of what we invest into our marriage.
Yeah.
And I would say with the marriage agenda, it enables me to be able to release him to run free and do the things that he needs to do as an entrepreneur. And so when I get that sense of safety and security, then he can be more released into the things that he's called to do. So it's really helpful.
I like our calendar too now. I used to not like it because I felt very bound up by it. Because you love to schedule me. You love to schedule things out. But now I found freedom. I actually teach on it in a module in the Maverick Entrepreneur about rhythm and flow. If I can get my life into a rhythm, I can flow faster and I can handle more plate spinning.
Right.
I get probably, and you'll get this a lot too, once a week someone goes, how do you guys do it all? And I would tell you the right systems, the right teams, the right rhythm, and the marriage agenda is how we do it. Mm-hmm. Because if we're on the same page, everything else is secure.
Well, it's an anchor.
It's an anchor. And if you have other anchor points, like my whole life is pretty scheduled, even, I could put someone in that's even new and they'll know where my life is at based on my schedule. Whereas when I ask most people what their schedule is, they don't even know what they're doing. I mean, they waste more time doing low impact stuff, and they could get ahead financially if they could secure their calendar and their marriage at the same thing. So,
yes.
I don't know when we're going to release this episode, but they need to look up the Awakened Marriage Getaway.
Yes.
If you're married, I don't care what age, and get there because it will invest in your marriage at another level.
And a lot of these principles we've incorporated into that. So it's fresh, real, and powerful teaching and ministry time, but also lots of free time and fun time to connect with your spouse. And we talk about all this stuff. So,
did you ever meet couples that they look like they're a buzzkill and they're like newlyweds?
I usually don't meet them because I walk the other way.
The other way. That's so not very pastoral.
Okay. I don't ever do that.
Yeah. Don't lie to me. No, but isn't it sad to see so many young couples that dated and were so much fun, they get married and have a kid, and now they're buzzkills?
Yeah, that is true.
Like, we got to help them.
Yeah, let's take them and do some fun things with them. Got to show this big, amazing world.
It's true. But look back at our wedding party 18 years ago. If we got married
today. I don't even remember that.
I know. If we got married today, would anybody be that was in our wedding party then be in our wedding party now?
Other than family? No.
Yeah, but I mean, who was in your wedding party that was family? Your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither.
Mm-mm.
I was looking at that going, dude, at one point, these were my best homies.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? And I'll tell you the difference. Life got busy, and not every one of them had the same intentions as us. How many fun things have we done in our life?
Too many to talk about on this episode.
Right? We're still having fun. But how many people get married and they're having less fun?
Yeah. That's not how it should be. I mean, a lot of people tried to tell us when we had our first kid.
Oh, that ticked you off.
That we would never be doing anything fun again, or that like life would change drastically. It did change drastically. However, we incorporated what we like to do into our kids' lives. And so now they like to do all the things that we like to do.
Yeah.
And we're one big happy family doing epic things.
How old was Micah when we went to Italy?
Micah was 2 or 2.5, and Maverick was 6 months old.
We took a 6-month-old to Italy?
We took a 6-month-old to Italy, and we brought a nanny. Like, why can't we get creative here?
How much fun was
so
that?
she got a free trip to Italy. Of course, that's amazing. So think outside the box. And if finances is an issue for you, then just think outside the smaller box. You can find things.
I want to go to Paris, and
Adventure.
I decided we might not go to Paris this year, but I am going to take you to Vegas, and we'll stay at the Paris.
Great. It's almost the same.
I'm going to feel like it. We're going to eat at a French restaurant. We're going to do something. But I will tell you this. Dream big. Go after it. Don't buzzkill. Like, if you're going to hold your wife's hand walking down the street, put a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Don't look like two bitter people that are sucking on vinegar.
Do you remember that couple that used to come in your office? I used to work at True Chiropractic, and then one day I quit, and then I came back the next day. I got fired, and then I quit, and then we just decided this might not work.
Yeah.
But remember
I
that?
fired you a lot.
Yeah, and I quit a lot. Yes.
Yeah. It's true.
But that one couple that came in holding hands every single adjustment, and they were like 80 something.
Oh, they were so cute.
And they were so cute.
Oh.
And we always said, and I was young at the time, like 20 something, and he was a new chiropractor in business.
Yeah.
And we always said, if we could be like that and so happy at that age.
Yeah, it was so cute to watch.
That was goals.
Yeah. They were at that time, they just hit 60 years. 60 years and still holding hands.
That's a long time.
They didn't even know what a marriage agenda was. That's what they did back then.
Yeah.
They just spent quality family time together.
Yes.
Now everybody's addicted to their phone. Like, it's so important that, we put up the guardrails to protect our marriage, because if you don't, it will suck the life out of you.
And there's also this thing on your phone that says do not disturb that you can put on. And so the world knows that you're doing something more important.
I want to change do not disturb to marriage agenda.
Yeah. Call Apple, let them know.
Call Apple, let them know. Hey, you never know. Anything's possible.
It's true.
So I would just say, because I know we're wrapping it here, babe, if you could leave some wisdom for the wives, what would you say to the wives?
Wisdom for the wives? In
wisdom
what area?
For the wives. Just in just having some grace, because you're very black and white. You're a planner. And then if I deviate from the plan, you're pissed.
Wisdom for the wives would be find your security, not just in your marriage and in your family, but find it ultimately in God. And that's like big picture. Because if you put everything in every day is dependent on how your husband responds in the coffee break agenda, or he did this other thing or this other thing, or your kids or whatever, like all the things happen. Like we have a very, crazy / normal life. But I would say in the beginning, when we first got married, a lot of my security came from everything he was doing or not doing. And I had to quickly learn that was not going to get me long-term married or get me anywhere. And it was going to cause a lot of destruction.
Yeah, our first 2 years sucked.
Yeah, honestly, it did. And the first year especially.
No, it was mostly the first year. I feel like year 2 is recovery.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake of replacing my relationship with God and trying to fit my husband into this role model that was actually supposed to be my Heavenly Father. And so I don't know if that's too spiritual for this podcast.
No,
but
it's not.
I would
they
say
need it. It's not too spiritual for anybody.
Yeah. Over the years, as I've grown in that area, a lot of things have gotten much more healthy in our family. And then we're able to set the example for our kids.
Well, you didn't have role models growing up that modeled this.
Yeah. And I didn't. So I had...
So we had to learn how to talk to each other better. We had to learn how to say positive words to one another, which was so frustrating because I didn't grow up the way you grew up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Coming from parents who were both divorced and on second, third marriages, and being, given not a healthy example of how to raise a family. So a lot of undoing to do in those first few years, a lot of, soul searching and trying to figure out who I was and my purpose and what value I brought. And as soon as I discovered that, everything got easier and we got rhythms into place. And some of my stuff, bringing it to the surface actually helped us become closer. And so if I can encourage you, if you weren't modeled the right way, then just be vulnerable about it so that you can get better.
We brought people in our worlds. Our pastors were our accountability partner, and she could talk to her pastor. I would talk to her pastor. That's what connect groups are for. But if you're not connected or don't have accountability, you got to find that first. Find another couple that you vibe with that has the same values of you that you guys can, talk to. You don't want to, women, you just don't want to talk to everybody. Be intentional with who you talk to. And men, you can't have an accountability partner that's another woman. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That was one hurdle we had to get over too, because being in the professional world, he had a lot of female relationships, and some of them I was okay with and some of I wasn't, but I also had to realize I was insecure. And so we had to navigate that and balance that and call our pastors and get wisdom and get advice. So all these are important things, but you definitely need people in your world to be able to navigate them.
Yeah. And so when the coffee break, don't give up just because it might get dicey or spicy. Keep at it. If you guys, you can DM us for the agenda. So you just put in agenda, we'll send it to you. If you guys need pastoral care or marriage advice, I don't know. If it blows up, it blows up. It might take a while for us to get back to you, but you got to put your marriage above your business, above everything else. Work at that. Your first ministry, men, is your marriage, is your wife, is your bride. So just be intentional with it, because all the money in the world isn't going to save the day, and you'll keep getting callous. You'll harden your heart if you don't do the work and set your life up right. So hopefully this marriage agenda blesses you. Hopefully this was good info for you. What do you think, babe?
I love it.
You love it?
It's working. Our marriage is working. So.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. That's another topic for another day. But if not, maybe we'll see you at the Awakened Marriage Getaway this year. If not, DM us. We'd love to be in your world. Share this video. Help as many married couples as you can, whether they're engaged. Listen, start these habits early. The earlier you start it, the better results you're going to get. So God bless you. Thanks for watching this episode of The Maverick Entrepreneur.